There's something deeply wrong with a show that survived on imagination. Cardboard, rubber, and pure bloody nerve for over 60 years, suddenly deciding it needs to apologize for itself. Modern Doctor Who doesn't just critique its past, it recoils from it. It flinches. It winces at old monsters, old ideas, old aesthetics, as if the very things that kept the show alive through cancellation, budget cuts, and hostile press are now some kind of embarrassing rash it needs to cover up. Instead of owning what it was, the show keeps stopping to explain, justify, soften, or outright apologize for its own history. And in doing so, it's hollowed itself out. The rot sets in the moment. A story pauses to reassure the audience that, yes, we know this looks silly, or this was wrong back then, or don't worry, we're not like that anymore. That instinct, that desperate need to preempt criticism, is poison to genre fiction. Especially Doctor Who, a show that was never meant to be cool, sleek, or respectable. It was meant to be strange, unsettling, and occasionally ridiculous. And yet now, instead of leaning into that legacy, the show behaves like a teenager mortified by old family photos. Welcome to The Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Damon, and today I'm looking at a show that seems genuinely embarrassed by the very past that made it matter. Doctor Who, and its ongoing campaign to apologize for itself instead of owning what it is. Let's get something straight. Classic Doctor Who was never flawless. Some monsters were clunky, some designs didn't land, some ideas were uncomfortable, messy, or rooted in the attitudes of their time. But here's the crucial difference. The show never treated those things as weaknesses to be disowned. It treated them as part of the experiment. If something didn't work visually, the concept carried it. If the budget collapsed, the writing compensated. If an idea was provocative, the show leaned into it instead of sanding it down. Take the monsters. The modern era has this pathological need to either redesign them into generic CGI sludge or surround them with layers of ironic distance. The moment a classic monster returns, the script bends over backwards to comment on it, lampshading the design, mocking the look, or reframing the threat so the audience knows it's been updated. This isn't evolution, it's insecurity. The show no longer trusts the audience to meet it halfway. The irony is that the monsters were never scary because of how they looked. The Sea Devils weren't frightening because of their bulging eyes. They were frightening because they represented an ancient species that saw humanity as a biological inconvenience. The Cybermen weren't terrifying because of their silver suits. They were terrifying because they erased identity, emotion, and choice. The Daleks weren't threatening because of the pepper pots. They were threatening because they were pure, unrelenting ideology. Strip that away, apologize for the aesthetics, and you're left with noise. Modern Doctor Who also seems desperate to rewrite its own intent. Stories that were once allowed to be morally ambiguous are now dragged into the light and corrected. The Doctor's darker decisions are reframed as mistakes to be apologized for rather than moments to sit with. Past eras are retroactively judged rather than understood. Instead of trusting the audience to grasp that a show made in the 60s, 70s, or 80s reflects the anxieties of its time, the modern series feels compelled to hold its hands up and say, "We're better than that now." No, you're weaker than that now. What made Doctor Who endure was its refusal to sanitize itself. It tackled colonialism, war, fascism, environmental collapse, and authoritarianism head-on, sometimes clumsily, sometimes brilliantly, but always sincerely. It didn't apologize for asking uncomfortable questions. Now, instead of interrogating ideas, the show delivers pre-approved answers and moral lectures. Terrified that someone might misunderstand the intent, ambiguity has been replaced with disclaimers. Even the production design reflects this embarrassment. Everything has to be sleek, expensive-looking, cinematic. The show is ashamed of looking like Doctor Who. Gone is the sense that anything could be lurking behind a quarry in a corridor or under a mask. Monsters are overlit, over-explained and overused. There's no room for the imagination to do the work anymore because imagination requires confidence, and modern Doctor Who has none. And this is where it really stings. The show used to understand that its past wasn't a liability, it was a foundation. Russell T Davies, the first time around, understood this instinctively. He modernized the show without disowning it. He treated old monsters seriously. He trusted that if the emotional and thematic weight was right, the audience would accept the rest. Even when things were camp, they were committed. There was no apology in the room. Now, the show feels like it's constantly looking over its shoulder, waiting to be scolded. By apologizing for its monsters, its designs, and its ideas, Doctor Who has forgotten the most important rule of genre storytelling. Confidence sells the impossible. Once you start flinching, once you start explaining why something shouldn't be taken seriously, the spell is broken. The audience doesn't lean in, they lean back. The tragedy is that the solution isn't complicated. Stop apologizing, stop correcting, stop being embarrassed, own the past, the good, the bad, the strange, let monsters be monsters again, let ideas be unsettling without footnotes, trust the audience to understand context, history, and tone without being lectured. Doctor Who survived because it was bold enough to be itself. The moment it decided that was something to be ashamed of, it stopped being special. And until it remembers that, it's just another expensive show pretending it's too clever for its own history. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where naturally I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.